The performance delivered by Arsenal against Bayern Munich was not just a victory, it was a profound statement of intent, a demonstration of tactical intellect and squad depth that should resonate across European football. The sheer brilliance of Mikel Arteta's management on the night cannot be overstated, from his initial setup to the game-changing substitutions that ultimately sealed the result. This was a display that transcended the absence of key personnel, proving that the system and the collective spirit within this squad have evolved to an elite level. Facing a Bayern Munich side with an almost immaculate away record, a team that had been practically invincible on their travels all season, and systematically dismantling them is the kind of achievement that defines a team's growth. The narrative could have easily focused on who was missing for Arsenal, but the story that unfolded was one of such overwhelming dominance and control that it rendered those absences completely irrelevant. When you break down the components of this win, it becomes clear that Arsenal's success was built on a foundation of tactical discipline and individual excellence in every department. The first half was a finely balanced contest, but Arsenal consistently created the more dangerous and clear-cut opportunities. Even without relying on their much-discussed set-piece prowess for every chance, they looked fluid and threatening in open play. There was a moment where the game could have been put to bed earlier, a golden opportunity that fell to a key attacker who would normally be expected to score. But the fact that such chances were being manufactured so regularly against a team of Bayern's calibre was a testament to the game plan. The real marvel was in the defensive solidity. To be missing your primary central defender and have a player stepping in to face a striker of Harry Kane's world-class calibre, and to make that striker a complete non-factor for the entirety of the match, is a coaching triumph. Kane was isolated, frustrated and effectively removed from the game, which is a feat very few teams can accomplish. The list of unavailable players for Arsenal would cripple most squads. No Gabriel at the back, an unfit Odegaard just returning to action, players like Partey just back from injury, and the absence of attacking threats like Gabriel Jesus and Havertz. Even the talisman, Bukayo Saka, was substituted during the match. They rested a key player like Callery from the start, and even a young prospect like Lewis Skelly had a challenging introduction. Yet none of this mattered. The team that took to the pitch was a cohesive, relentless unit that fully deserved the 3 points. This performance naturally leads to the question of how far this team can go in the Champions League, as they appear even more robust and tactically versatile than the side that impressed last season. For anyone attempting to dismiss them as set-piece FC, this game was a definitive rebuttal. The goals and chances came from a variety of sources and build-up patterns, showcasing a multifaceted attacking threat that is the hallmark of a top-tier team. In a game filled with stellar individual performances, one player stood out as the unequivocal engine and the most influential figure on the pitch. This was a player who did not find the scoresheet, but whose impact was so profound that he was, without a doubt, the man of the match. Declan Rice delivered a masterclass in midfield dominance. His performance reached a level that can genuinely be described as world-class. A tier where a player consistently dictates the biggest games. He shows up against the likes of Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. He is a player who rarely, if ever, goes missing. On this night, he effectively lorded over the entire midfield battle against some of Europe's most esteemed operators. He single-handedly patrolled and closed off the central corridors, ensuring there was no space for Bayern to play through. He was a one-man defensive shield, reading the game, intercepting passes, and breaking up play with a combination of intelligence and physical prowess. If you analyse the build-up to the second goal, the one that was finished after Kaluri came on, the origin of that move was a decisive action from Declan Rice. His contribution in that moment and throughout the game was absolutely monumental and laid the platform for the victory. The first half also saw Bukayo Saka cause constant problems for the Bayern left-back, who was fortunate to receive only a yellow card for a series of cynical fouls. The use of a false nine was also a tactical stroke of genius, as it created a persistent dilemma for the Bayern central defenders. Every time the forward dropped deep, he dragged a marker out of position, creating voids in the heart of their defence that were immediately exploited by incisive runs from the wide attackers. you could see the Bayern defensive line become disjointed and uncertain, unsure whether to hold their position or track the runner. This strategic manipulation of space was a key feature of Arsenal's attacking play, with players like Trossard consistently threatening on the opposite flank. It was a shame he had to come off early, likely as a precaution, because he has been in scintillating form. Another returning star who deserves immense praise is Jurrien Timber. His performance was nothing short of exceptional. To return from a long-term injury and slot in with such composure, technical quality and defensive assurance is remarkable. He looked like a player who had never been away, a genuine gem of a signing who adds yet another layer of quality to this formidable squad. The Emirates Stadium itself has become a fortress, a weapon that Arsenal wield with devastating effect. The atmosphere was electric, and it acts as a genuine 12th man, fueling the players' intensity and unnerving the opposition. On nights like these, it doesn't seem to matter which individual is missing. The system and the environment are so powerful that they elevate every player within it. This isn't to downplay the quality of individuals like Gabriel, who is a massive player, but rather to highlight that the team's identity is now bigger than any one person. Watching this Arsenal team, you did not get the sense they were reliant on a moment of individual magic or a dead ball situation to scrape a result. This was a controlled, aggressive and systematic dismantling of a European giant. There is a palpable hunger, a killer instinct that emerges when this team smells blood. They are brimming with confidence and talent. A combination that Arteta and Edu have meticulously assembled, building on the foundations laid in previous seasons to create a squad that is so perfectly balanced and secure, it's difficult to find any glaring weaknesses. The second half, however, is where the game was truly won, and where Arteta's managerial brilliance shone brightest. The period immediately after half-time revealed a clear shift in momentum and urgency. Arsenal came out with a renewed hunger, a galvanised purpose that seemed to overwhelm Bayern. Whether it was the effect of a rousing team talk or a tactical adjustment, the difference was stark. It was reminiscent of the powerful second-half performances often associated with other great managers, where a team emerges with a clear and forceful intention to decide the contest. Arsenal poured everything onto the pitch. And while the game became slightly stagnant in the final third for a period, the introduction of the substitutes injected the necessary quality to break the deadlock. The moment Kaluri entered the fray, his impact was immediate. The cross he delivered for the goal was a thing of beauty. A wicked, old-school, fullback's cross that is a dying art in modern football. You rarely see that quality of delivery in the Premier League or across world football anymore. It was a throwback to a different era and was absolutely devastating in its effectiveness. The substitutions were not just impactful, they were perfect. Each change made sense and contributed positively to the outcome. Madu coming on and scoring at the back post would have meant the world to him, returning from injury and proving he can be trusted in a high-stakes situation. The management of the squad knowing when to introduce fresh legs and which profiles to use was a 10 out of 10 performance from the manager. Using Martinelli as a super sub against tiring defenders has become a recurring and effective tactic. A perfect solution that maximises the player's explosive pace and directness while making the manager look astute. Those substitutions, that in-game management, were the defining factors that turned a tense battle into a commanding victory. Once that second goal went in, chasing a game against Arsenal at the Emirates becomes a near impossible task. The composure and control they exhibit with a lead is formidable. The mistake that led to the Martinelli goal was forced by Arsenal's relentless pressure. A reminder that you cannot afford a single lapse in concentration against them. This victory forces a re-evaluation of Mikel Arteta's standing in the global game. To outmaneuver and defeat one of the best teams in the world, regardless of the competition stage, is a significant achievement. While knockout football presents different challenges, based on the evidence of this performance, Arsenal have declared themselves serious contenders. Arteta is cementing his status as one of the premier managers in world football. He trusts his squad implicitly, and that trust is reciprocated through flawless execution on the pitch. The symbiotic relationship between the manager and his players is a powerful force. And it's a sight that must make rival fans envious. With key players still to return from injury, the frightening prospect is that this Arsenal team is only going to get stronger. This performance suggests they are not just capable of winning a major trophy this season, they are a team that expects to. The balance, the confidence, the tactical flexibility, and the sheer quality make them a formidable opponent for any team in both the Premier League and the Champions League. Every single substitution worked to perfection, and it's a joy to see players like Odegaard getting valuable minutes as they return to full fitness. This was a deserved win built on a tactical masterclass, individual brilliance from players like the impeccable Declan Rice, and an unbreakable collective spirit, all amplified by a roaring home crowd that has turned the Emirates into an impenetrable fortress.